Hello, health and wellness advocates. This is Dr. Lewis, and these are the pillars of healthcare. Now, possibly you're wondering, what are our conversations based on? These are basically the things that we follow to make sure that you maintain a healthy life or reverse a condition that you're actually going through. Very easy, but very detailed. So I'll get to this, and then below I'll put a link on the video that is actually labeled diet plan, because most of you are constantly asking me, what should we eat? Now that you're saying we should drop weight and all that, because apparently that's what is actually full on your plates, you're asking me what should we eat. So that video is there. It's labeled diet plan. You can actually watch it and enjoy the content. It's free, and then start practicing it, so that when you come to me for a consultation, you actually know you've done your part, and now you're just coming in to fill in the gaps. Welcome on board and enjoy this one. Pillar number 1, 70 to 80% of your health goals very achieved through that is basically diets. So if you combine diets and fasting, you can actually achieve a lot of goals. And the beauty about your body is, just because you've eaten unhealthy foods for 60 years, it doesn't mean that the body will punish you for those 60 years. Of course, it will give you symptoms here and there that you can easily fix by following these pillars. And when you start doing this, you start following these pillars optimally, what will happen is the body starts to reward you within the first 2 weeks. How amazing is that? Therefore, you have a perfect body. It's just that you are failing to take care of it by giving it nutrition so that it can use for hormone production, repair, rebuild, and basically balance the system. So look at it this way. On diets, we will normally talk about what you should eat, what you should avoid, and then we go to when you should eat when we'll be talking about fasting. Okay, so let's start with the diets. Definitely, I've told you to avoid some types of food, basically the inflammatory foods. So the 3 have to go. Basically, not even the 3. There's a lot of foods that you should avoid, and this basically is what covers your plate all the time. Sugar has to go, wheat has to go, and we've explained these videos in individual videos on this platform. So you can easily search just sugar, health and wellness sport, and you'll find a video on sugar. You can search wheat, health and wellness sport, and you'll find wheat and all that. The seed oils that you people use. Now the industries are very clever. They will now change their seed oils from liquid to solid by hydrogenating them. They're still the same thing. So whether you're using a solid one or a liquid one, you're using the same. Those that you call vegetable oils, there is no vegetable in it. I would like you to tell me your favorite seed oil, which vegetable is actually there, is actually present in it, and which vegetable is used to extract that seed oil that you're actually using to make your chapatis. So these have to go. But when you talk about sugars, we are basically talking about the carbohydrates, okay, and wheat is part of that. So sugars, we have the simple and the complex carbohydrates. Again, I've done a video about that, but look at it this way. The simple carbohydrates are very addictive. They spike blood sugars and they cause you problems, and they give you the addiction, basically insulin resistance. Now you are sent into cravings to eat more carbohydrates. So we have the wheat, of course. Part of that, we have ugali and rice. By the way, did you know ugali and rice are one of the are part of the most useless starches that you people eat? Ugali and rice are super inflammatory to your gut and the liver. They have no nutritional benefit. Some of you will tell me, oh, what about the brown ugali? And I'll tell you this for free. Apart from the fiber, what is the end result of absorption of that brown ugali? Do you think your body knows colors? Do you? Do you think your body knows you ate millet? It knows you brought in the fiber. Well done. The fiber will be consumed by gut microorganisms, because we are unable to digest the fiber. So they will use it, and then they'll help us or aid us in digestion. But if you end up overfeeding the gut microorganisms, you will be punished by a constipation. Yes, okay, so these ones are useless. By the way, I want to tell you this. There is no deficiency condition for carbohydrates. So stop making all this justification to just eat unhealthy foods. At least you can shift from wheat, ugali, and rice and head straight to the complex carbohydrates, which are basically sugars also, but they have the fiber that holds back to the sugars a little bit so that you get a gradual flow of glucose in your bloodstream. So the sweet potatoes, the butternuts, the pumpkins, the arrowroots, the green bananas, and the beans can actually serve in as good carbohydrate sources in terms of the complex carbohydrates to replace ugali, wheat, and rice. Okay, and then when we talk about sugar again, we are talking about the culprit that is called honey. Most of you drop table sugar and straight to honey. That's a waste of your time. Honey is basically sugar, it's fructose. So much problems. Your body does not understand natural and synthetic sugars. It knows glucose or fructose or the lactose in milk. And then here, of course, we have table sugar. Here, of course, we have sugarcane, right? All those are basically the sugars that I'm talking about. And then, of course, your major culprit, the fruits. One of the reasons why people eat fruits is because they are addicted to fructose without even knowing. They are in denial. If I remove vitamins from that fruit, nobody will eat that fruit. But if I remove the sugar, all of you will not eat any fruit. That's why raw mangoes are not so famous. If somebody brings a cart here and starts selling raw mangoes, no one of you will buy them. We used to eat mangoes and salt when we were growing up, and it was very awesome. Mangoes and all those watermelons that you're eating right now, their seeds cannot even regrow. Okay, some of them don't even have seeds. Like you've seen the limao, there are oranges that don't even have seeds. They cannot regrow. They don't even have fiber. They are rich in sugars. They are very low in vitamins because of modification. They just want you to be sick, weak, and depressed so that you go back to the same system. So avoid the fruits. They are non-essential totally. And there's no vitamin that is not present in vegetables. So prefer vegetables over the fruits, okay? Except avocados. So you can enjoy your avocados in every meal, okay? And then the wheat products. Wheat comes in very different forms. And I think that's the reason why most of you eat wheat without even knowing. Spaghetti is wheat, pizza is wheat, mandazi, bread, the chapatis, all that is wheat, plus the cakes that you people eat on birthdays. That is wheat. You will eat it now. It leaves your system, yes, in terms of glucose, but how about the inflammation that it leaves behind? About a month or so of inflammation in the system. So the more you eat the wheat, the more inflamed your system becomes. The more the bad bacteria in your gut, which will send you into craving all the time. And you can bear witness. You eat bread at home, at 10 in your office, you're eating another bread, and by 11, you're yawning because wheat has a way of just taking you back. It has actually been proven to have things that mimic opioid receptors in the brain. The receptors that actually morphine, which is a potent painkiller, activates to give you euphoria. When you feel the euphoric effect, you become addicted to wheat. So therefore, drop wheat, whether brown or white. And listen to this. Just because it is less poisonous, it does not mean it's good for your consumption. That is the assumption that you people make. That because brown bread is better off than the white bread, better off in quotes. But if you look at the glycemic index, you realize brown is even worse than white. So food industries are very clean. They come up with something like this. They give you brown bread, and brown bread becomes very expensive, and they make the profits. And they will never admit. So if you're waiting for your government, for pharmaceutical companies and the food industries to admit that they were wrong, they will not. They will simply move to the next lie. Okay, and they let you keep on arguing with this lie. Look at how they've moved on so fast from toothpaste, and now they are bringing in a commercial toothpaste that has salt. Look at that lie. They can't even talk about the fluoride. They'll simply move to the next lie. Look at them talking about the saturated fats that actually cause and clog arteries to cause your heart disease. They have realized, oh, okay, there's a movement, and they've simply moved on. Now they're producing a lot of these things in the market, and now they're bringing new vegetable ghee. So they will never admit a lie, and they will never come publicly saying this. Even the doctor will never admit the lie because he has ego. So what they do, they move on to the next lie. And as you get confused in this lie, they have gone. Okay? And then the seed oils, of course, drop those inflammatory foods. Once you drop this, now you can start eating foods. Once you drop, how did I even forget? Milk is part of this because milk is part of the sugars, the lactose. Pasteurized milk to be specific. If you want to take the milk, then you'd rather take milk straight from a cow without boiling, ferment it, and drink without adding sugar. That could be a good product for you because it has all the fat intact, the enzymes intact, the protein intact, the carbohydrate intact, and every component of it is actually the bacteria that will actually inhabit your gut. They are all intact. So that's the only way you should take your milk, okay? So that is what you drop. And then what do you eat? Of course, for the carbohydrates, I've mentioned the big six, the sweet potatoes, the butternuts, the pumpkins, the arrowroots, the ground, the beans and all that, and the green bananas. But these are still sugars and starches. So make sure they're the least in your plate, okay? Don't be that person who takes ugali, a big chunk of ugali and 2 pieces of meat and vegetables, and then you're still suffering from hypertension and diabetes, but you're still blaming the meat. Yet you're taking 2 pieces of meat. You're cooking them in seed oils, but you're still blaming the saturated fats. When you're not taking the saturated fats, you're not using ghee to cook, you're not eating fatty meat, how did you end up having diabetes and hypertension? When you did not eat this, how did you end up having a stroke when you've not been eating animal fats? It's time for us to think and ask questions, okay? So that the complex carbohydrates, eat all animal proteins. Stay away from the plant-based protein for if you're actually trying to reverse a medical condition. Somebody who's trying to just lead a healthy life can enjoy that once in a week and they're okay. But if you are actually trying to reverse a medical condition, go back to the roots of your ancestors. You realize cereals and grains were not for consumption, okay? And you see these plants are very clever. They load their seeds, to survive, they load their seeds with anti-nutrients. That's one of the reasons why you get so much bloating when you eat those cereals. Some of them load their seeds with phytoestrogens, which basically mimic your natural estrogens. They bind to receptors of estrogen and activate these receptors. And then men become women just like that. Women become fat. Men grow the buttocks and the hips. Men grow these thin voices. They have erectile dysfunction because their testosterone levels are going down and estrogen is going up. They become very emotional. That is the same challenge with alcohol, okay? So once you do the complex carbohydrates, you start eating all animal proteins, both red and white. Red meat is not a problem to you. And meat does not cause you gout. Gout is caused by fructose, which is coming from fruits and honey. We've talked about that. So eat red meat in plenty and make it fatty. How much fatty meat can you eat in one sitting? It will not be so much, because fats will stop you from overeating the red meat. And fats are satiety. So they'll give you a feeling of fullness for a long period of time. That's what we want, okay? And then go ahead and eat all types of vegetables, both the cruciferous and the green leafy vegetables. They are very good for you. They come with the fiber, they come with the vitamins, the minerals, and all that. And also the cruciferous vegetables, the okra, the carrots, the cucumber, the eggplants, the cabbages, broccoli, and cauliflower. If you're doing them, know that they come with enzymes that help the liver to break down estrogen. Therefore, women who have hormonal imbalances, people who are trying to lose fat, you can actually encourage yourself to eat more of the broccolis and the cruciferous vegetables, because they'll help the liver to break down fat and estrogen, and you start balancing your hormones. Do you remember okra water trending for no good reason? And a lot of women ran to that. They took it. They didn't understand the science behind it, because it's actually anti-estrogen. So that's how it sucks to maintain your vaginal health. So all vegetables should be consumed. If you're doing a salad, now it's time for you to top dress it with extra virgin olive oil or coconut oil. Remember, as you're dropping the seed oils, replace them with the saturated animal fats, ghee, tallow, coconut oil, lard, sweat. These animal fats, all of them are super for consumption and for cooking, both deep frying and shallow frying. There's a video we talked about comparing the saturated fats and the unsaturated fats. You can watch that video and you will see the difference between the seed oils and the animal fats, okay? And then the nuts, you can do nuts. So you can do almonds, you can do peanuts, you can do cashew nuts, macadamia nuts. However, you know it's very difficult to control the consumption of nuts. Basically, you will end up eating all the bowl until it's done. Doesn't you realize, oh, I have done too much of the nuts, okay? And then they start causing you the bloating and all that. So therefore, a handful of nuts before a meal, that will make sense. Not after a meal, because after a meal, you'll end up overeating. Do it before a meal, just a handful, and see the changes. That is basically your diet. So what you should eat, what you should drop, basically. Now, for you to actually have maximum benefits from your diets, what do? Anybody who eats must fast. All of us who eat, we must fast. And fasting has not been introduced by me. Whether an intermittent fast, whether a prolonged fast, it is a survival mechanism. So all human beings were designed to actually go through survival. This fasting comes in to clear DNA. Fasting comes in to reconnect your spirit and your soul to your creator and all that. Fasting cleans up your soul and all that. It cleans up the system generally. We've talked about it in terms of autophagy and mitophagy, where autophagy is the cells cleaning themselves. The debris that is in the cell is destroyed and converted to energy. That's how mutations start to disappear. In the mitochondria cleans up. When it cleans up, we call that mitophagy. And that's how the cancers start to disappear. The mutations, the Alzheimer's, the mental health condition, the degenerative nerve problems, they start to disappear. So fasting is very important because, again, you cannot just be somebody who eats all the time. How can you eat 4 meals a day and still snack in between? Who actually bewitched you that you should eat 3 meals a day constantly? Understand that fasting is designed to actually help you actually utilize the energy that you've eaten. And then know that just because you fill the stomach, that is not satisfaction. That's just a full stomach. And hunger is not an empty stomach, because most of you will tell me, like, sorry, why would I fast when I can afford food? And also, is fasting really necessary? I mean, why would I fast? And I'm telling you this, fasting is very necessary. It is not designed by me. So don't ask me those questions. At least understand, read on your own, and then understand it's actually coming in from your DNA. So you have to eat and then take a break so that your gut digests, absorbs, it's taken to the liver for assimilation and metabolism. You get this energy being sent into the fat cells, and then now you can utilize it. On fasting, the easiest type of fasting is what you people call the intermittent fast of 16-8. Now, this basically tells you that you are skipping morning breakfast. The word is morning breakfast. Breakfast means you've not been eating, now you want to eat. So you're breaking a fast. But morning breakfast is one of the most useless meals of the day. We've had that argument and we've actually come to a conclusion. in all my lives. So listen to this. In the morning, there's something called the dawn phenomenon. The body is actually giving you glucose from the liver by producing the counter-regulatory hormones, the glucagon, the cortisol, the adrenaline, and sometimes, man, the testosterone. So all these hormones are coming in to give you energy. They break glycogen in the liver to release glucose in the bloodstream, and that is used to fuel you for the new day. So it's preparing you for the new day. So when you eat in the morning, you actually wasted the body. You simply convert the glycogen into fats, and you pump it into the dam site, the fat cells. And you see, we eat all the time, so we never find a chance to burn the fat. The reason why the body is storing glucose in form of fats in the fat cells is because it's hoping that there will be a natural calamity, there'll be a drought, there'll be a famine, there'll be floods. And during those floods, you simply turn to these fat cells to burn what you stored to use as energy. But what does the government do? When there are floods, they'll simply provide you with more rice. So you'll never find a chance to burn that. So it's always by design, okay? So the 16-8 basically means skip morning breakfast, and your first meal comes in at noon. Then your last meal comes in from around 6:30 to 8:30 in the evening when there is the sunset. So you eat according to the biological clock. And when you eat at noon, prefer eating a zero carbohydrate diet so that you don't spike glucose. Remember, in the morning you had a surge of glucose in blood, and towards noon it's starting to drop. This is the time you feed. But when you feed, you don't want to spike the glucose again. What you want is to maintain a stable flow of glucose so that you start burning what you've stored in the fat cells. And that's how you start losing the weight. So the intermittent fast of 16-8, and then you can alternate that with the 24-hour fast, basically 1 meal a day. If you can do very well with that 1 meal a day, no problem. You can do a 1 meal a day all through, and it can be a zero carb, which is still essential. But if you can do a complex carbohydrate as part of it, no problem. And then now you add in the prolonged fast, the 48-hour fast, and then basically 36, 48, and then 72. Sometimes you can go to about 120 at maximum. So those are 5 days of fasting, very necessary. When you get to this level, this one is a guru level at this moment in time, because in our channel we do a 48-hour fast every weekend, we do a 72-hour fast once in a month, and then 120 hours of fasting. We do it at the end of the year and the beginning of the year. But you can challenge yourself. These are fasts that are actually coming in handy to help people who have cancer to reverse the medical condition that they are suffering from. They also come in to weaken the fatty liver that most of you are suffering from, the non-alcoholic fatty liver disease that comes from eating a lot of fructose and the sugars. So these are basically the fast that you should be involved in. But basically you can do so well with the 16-8 and the 24-hour fast. And then maybe once or twice a month, you can push a 48-hour fast to challenge your system and do the cleanup. Okay? So that is fasting. Pillar number 3 is sleep. Anybody who eats and fasts has to take a break, sleep and rest, and allow the body to rebuild up. But sleep will come in after an exercise, because we go to the gym, we tear our muscles. Once you tear our muscles, and I would like you to go to the gym and do the big 6, the deadlift, the bend over rows, the squats, the bench press, both inclined and flat bench, the pull-ups. Sometimes you can do the push-ups also, okay? And also the overhead shoulder press. Those are the 6, the big 6 that you can actually do in the gym to tear muscles, to build the core, and to actually tone your muscles after a weight loss program. Once you do that, now you gain from what you did in the gym when you're actually resting. So therefore, 6 to 8 hours of sleep is very important. I see people working night shifts. Then they ask me, how do we work with that? And I'm telling you this. We talked about sleep on our video, and we said that there are hormones that are produced to regulate sleep, and they're produced from around 9, 10, all the way to around 3 a.m. So if you're sleeping during the day, you're actually not getting the maximum benefits, because you're designed to sleep at night. You're not nocturnal. So these hormones are very important. You should tap into them. They help you develop a healthy skin, a healthy brain and mindset, and all that. That's why children are also encouraged to sleep. So do not work overnight all the time. If you're working on night shifts, please do some shifts and then get out and stabilize your system, okay? Also, people who are actually doing a lot of online jobs, and they're always on computers, you're actually affecting your circadian rhythm by actually bringing in all that light that is coming from the laptops and the phones. Those of you who go to TikTok live and you're there for 8 hours, and then you have 2 hours of sleep. Have you ever realized when you wake up after having very inadequate sleep, how you wake up angry and the day just becomes so boring, you're so moody and all that? So sleep is very good for you. Therefore, 6 to 8 hours of sleep. This means when you eat at 8:30 in the evening, take about 2 hours, and by 10:30 and latest 11, you are in bed, so that you can actually achieve this. Develop those healthy habits of going to bed early. Leave your phones in the sitting room. Do not go with phones in the bedrooms. Those of you who have televisions in the bedrooms, what are they doing there? Go there maybe with a book, read a chapter, or read the Bible or Quran, read a chapter and then sleep. That's what you need, okay? 6 hours of sleep. Also exercise, we talked about that. And then rehydration. On rehydration, most people get dehydrated for drinking water. That statement sounds weird, but it's true. So when you drink water, plain water, what happens the next 30 minutes to 1 hour? You're rushing to the toilet to urinate, and you urinate a very clear looking urine. That's the urine that the system tells you is good. But you see, that's you flushing out sodium and electrolytes. Therefore, you're getting dehydrated. So therefore, you go back to thirst and you drink water and you do the same thing over and over. Some of you carry 2 liters of water to their offices or to your offices, but when you drink it, you still have very bad skin, you still have very bad sleep, you're not hydrated. This is what is actually happening because you don't add electrolytes to your water. So this is me saying, in every glass of your drinking water, add a pinch of salt every time. And the question that also comes here is, how much water should you drink in a day? I always tell you, if you're exercising actively, rehydrate with salt and water. Your body will tell you, if you're not somebody who exercises, the body will tell you how much you need by sending you into thirst. So the only time you should rehydrate all the time is when you're in the gym and working out or even running. But let's say you're somebody who is sedentary, who doesn't live to do workouts all the time and all that, there's no manual work, therefore you're not sweating much, you can actually take about 1 liter, maximum 2 liters. But your body cannot allow you to actually go into dehydration. It will actually ask you water through thirst. The only mistake that you do is you never add salt in this. Salt is going to be taken up by the cells and water will follow the salt into the cell, and that is total hydration. You realize you start to concentrate your urine, and that will help you fight vaginal health conditions, the reproductive health infections or conditions. Also, it will maintain a healthy pH in your vagina if you are a woman, and this will also nourish your skin. And salt is good for actually making blood vessels very flexible, and it improves the outcomes in blood pressure. So realize this, that salt is blamed for causing hypertension, but that is not true. Sugar is the problem in hypertension. So when you drop the sugar, of course, you start to enjoy the salt in plenty. Whether raw or cooked, eat your salt. But when you're hydrating, add a pinch of salt in every glass of your water. And then enjoy the sun, at least 30 minutes to 1 hour of daily sunlight, whatever time you choose. Some of you will begin doing the morning sunlight and evening sunlight. Don't care about that because your great-grandfather used to work in the fields the whole day. So you can enjoy your sun anytime as long as you have exposure to UV radiation. UV radiation will convert cholesterol in your skin into vitamin D, and that vitamin D is your immune system. The sun is also a natural endocrine stabilizer. So ladies who are having hormonal imbalances and you still go to the coast, put on a hat or an umbrella and you put on the sunglasses, you're wasting time. Remove those sunglasses, allow the receptors of the eye to pick up the sun, allow your skin to enjoy the sun. Do not apply sunscreen all the time. If you have very bad skin, you're eating very bad foods. So change your kitchen, and then you can alternate. Go to the sun for about 5 minutes and come back into the shade for about 5 minutes. Not put on sunscreen. That's how you do it. Unless you're an albino, that's when you can do that, because for special population. And then the stress levels. Most people are suffering from the stress levels. Remember, we said stress is highly inflammatory to the gut. It thins the gut wall, and therefore that exposes it to the acid, and then you end up having those ulcers and the gastritis, which is one of the major problems in terms of nutrient deficiencies. You will be unable to absorb optimum nutrients. You will be unable to digest these minerals, this food, so that you can actually liberate the minerals for absorption. So stress is highly detrimental to your health. Therefore, it has to be controlled. And remember, the higher the stress, the higher the hormone that is called cortisol. That hormone called cortisol instructs the liver to start breaking down glycogen to release glucose. And that glucose is coming in handy to help you fight the stress. Through that, you're ending up to get diabetes. That's how people who are always on steroids, those who go for steroids in the gym, anabolic steroids, those who use steroid medication like dexamethasone to fatten, prednisolone for allergies and asthma, beclomethasone, the inhalers that have steroids, or the injections that have steroids for a long period of time, basically those that are used in arthritis. You're going to raise your cortisol levels, and that is going to bring you problems. That's how they end up giving you diabetes. So you're going to instruct the liver to break down glycogen and always release glucose in the system. That can cause you insulin resistance. So stress has to go down. And the best ways to actually lower stress is, one, to enjoy the sun. That is one. Number two, to sleep, of course. Encourage yourself to sleep. And sleep comes in by developing healthy habits. We said that. Fix the gut and then develop healthy habits of going to bed early without the phone. But you realize when you have high stress, sleep becomes a problem. But when your body is stabilizing, sleep becomes a good method of lowering stress levels. But also remember to say the word no without having to explain it. Most of you are the yes people. You're always saying yes to everything. Okay? Tell your people no. If they're asking you for money, tell them no. If they're asking you for anything, say no. Learn to say this word no. And it's a complete statement. You don't need to explain it. That's how you start. You realize actually most of those people that you're calling family, once you disagree with them, they will disown you. So you realize you never had family anyway. You just had people you knew and relatives. Okay? So learn to say no. And then, of course, during the weekends, walk barefoot. Do grounding. Go and enjoy a walk barefoot. Go to the coast and walk along the streams and the river banks. Walk in streams. Hug a tree or something. You will release the toxins and the charges from the system, and that eases up your stress levels. And then, of course, join our shows on Fridays, the Identity Fridays, so that you actually get your identity back. Once you get your identity back, you shed off all that negative energy around you and your stress levels go back to normal and you'll be a superhuman. So join those shows that happen every Friday at 8:30 all the way to late night. It's called Identity Fridays with Uncle Chile. It's on another channel on this platform that is called Uncle Chile. So please, as my fan or my follower here on Health and Wellness Pod, also extend a hand to the brother station that is called Uncle Chile on the same YouTube. Subscribe and enjoy free content that help you fix your identity and anger. Above all, always perform cold showers. We are so much into our comfort zone. We cannot wake up early. We cannot take cold showers. We can't go to the gym. We cannot run in the morning because it's drizzling. All these things are actually coming in as sedentary. So start taking cold showers. They are very good in terms of improving your immune system. They improve blood flow. They improve cardiac function. They improve skin function because they improve blood flow towards the skin. So cold showers are very necessary. In men, once you beat a challenge, your testosterone levels go up. So your erectile dysfunction starts to disappear. So you cannot go to the gym and come back and take a hot shower. Go and take a cold shower. In the beginning, start with a warm shower and then end with a cold shower as you get used to it. And slow by slow, you'll become a guru in this. There's a reason why athletes do a cold plunge. They sink in ice water because that heals inflammation. By the time they're getting out of that, the inflammation is gone. So encourage yourself to follow this platform. And once you do this, let's see how far you can go with it. Push yourself harder and be consistent. We say CPD as our order of the day. Okay, so this is what we follow: consistency, patience, and discipline. And then we always say, as you do this, the CPD, always stay present. Stop overthinking. Identities, fix your identity so that you stay present. Ease up on stress levels by staying present. Don't overthink things. You don't have yesterday, you don't have tomorrow. It's all in your imagination. So start learning how to actually win the battle over your imaginations and your thoughts. Because most thoughts, actually all thoughts, are evil and they are lies. So they lie to you, they excite you about the future that you don't even have, and then they disappoint you about the past. They make you judge yourself about the past, which is actually a waste of your time. So you start learning now, you start becoming consistent, you become patient and disciplined, and then you stay present. This is basically you getting better every day and all day. Thank me later.